Welcome back to Grid Drop. Been kind of a long time since I've posted, but we're finally back with some Assetto Corsa. We're doing our championship still. I did post a video. My most recent video was with Audi R8 around Zolder, kind of a last to first challenge. If you want to check that out, I'll link that in the corner of this video. It was a pretty solid race, and definitely a lot of drama on that one. So check that one out if you haven't seen it. Again, not part of the championship, but just thought it'd be kind of fun to post. But yeah, so finally back in the championship. Unfortunately for this race, I was disqualified from qualifying for cutting the track to save time. I just kind of cut the track on a slow lap just to get around the circuit a little bit quicker on one of the final laps of qualifying. Unfortunately, that disqualified me. Also, unfortunately, my footage of qualifying was corrupted. I'm not really too sure why. So there's no qualifying footage. We're just getting straight into the race. So we're going to be starting at the very back of the field. 25 out of 25 cars are racing at Misano World Circuit in Italy. And hopefully we can climb up the order and get some type of points. We've had pretty strong races in the past. We've been fighting for wins. Definitely been on the podium a couple times, a couple pole positions. So we do have strong pace compared to the rest of these guys. And obviously in Assetto Corsa, it's pretty easy to pick up positions right off the start. So hopefully we can get a really good start and just climb somewhere around halfway up the field and then move on from there. So coming around the final corner now, it should be green lights any second now, and we are racing in Misano. Pretty good start, definitely got the jump on this Porsche Mercedes in front. Gonna thread the needle, go right between them. Gotta make sure to be very cautious into this first braking zone. Overtaking that Mercedes on the left, already a couple positions right off the start. Tucking in right behind this GTR, gonna go around the outside now into turn 2. Hopefully this can stick on this Lamborghini in front, but that's already 5 or 6 positions gained right off the start, so that's exactly what we needed to see. Now in a bit of a drag race with this Lamborghini up the inside into turn 4, and that's 3 cars into turn 4. Definitely a big send up the inside there. The Aston Martin, I wasn't really expecting to get past him as well, but obviously they're kind of holding each other up on the first lap. Everyone's very, very bunched up closely together. Going up the inside now on the straight of this GTR, this should be a pretty easy overtake. Going to have the inside, all we have to do is brake pretty much at the same point as him, and we'll have this corner to ourselves. Going to send it up the inside of this Ferrari as well into turn 7. Side by side still to turn 7. A little bit of wheel spin on the exit. That might compromise our exit, but luckily the Ferrari was squeezed a little bit too far to the outside and we can get that place back. So up into 13th now. That's half the field overtaken in probably about half a lap. So definitely the start we needed. Like I did say earlier, it's pretty easy to overtake a lot of people on the first lap. Everyone's really bunched up together. The cars are pretty wide, and I mean this is a pretty wide track, but yeah, with everyone being so close together, it's pretty easy to just pick people off one by one. But tucked in now behind this McLaren, driving a little bit erratically. He's taking some interesting lines through. He's taking a lot of curb to try to get up the inside of that GTR, and I think we should be able to capitalize on this at some point. The GTR takes a lot of curb, a little bit of contact as he kind of backs himself up into us, and that McLaren overtakes him, so now we've got the GTR in front. But that is the first lap done with. You're on the main straight now, on to lap 2. So definitely a very eventful first lap for us, overtaking a lot of people. But so hopefully we can keep up this pace for the rest of the race. But I'm going to give a quick rundown corner by corner. So turn 1, you gain a lot of time compared to the AI. You can see I just cut the curb on the right. The AI tend to shy away from that curb. I'm not really too sure why, because you can definitely gain a lot of time there, and you're still within track limits, so gain a lot of time there. Just now is turn 4. That is pretty easy to gain time as well. And right here is turn 6, and this is where you start to lose some time to the AI. You can see the GTR just pulled a pretty sizable gap on the exit right there. I'm not really too sure why the player loses so much time there. It's not really possible to drive flat out on the exit there, just because the exit curbs are going to kind of spin you out. So I'm not really too sure how the AI gain so much time through there. It's got to be something in my driving style that I could look at, but yeah, that's where they gain a lot of time. You can see coming into this corner now, definitely gain a lot more time, pretty much closing that gap, so it sort of just evens itself out. And onto this back straight now. It's sort of an interesting one. It kinks right, you can go flat out through that, and then there's probably a 45-degree turn to the right, which turns into a hairpin. The braking zone is a little bit deceiving. You have to be very careful. If you miss your braking zone right here, you can go very, very wide on the exit curb and totally just compromise your exit for the hairpin. And yeah, so a couple places where the AI gains time, a couple places where the player gains time, and it sort of just evens out by the end of the lap. So that's sort of a quick rundown on just where you gain and lose time compared to the cars in front. just for context for the rest of the race. But on to lap 3 now, right behind this GTR, taking a lot of curb up the inside. That's exactly what I was talking about. Those curbs are very forgiving. The AI tend to shy away from that. That's really where you can make up some time. You can see here, side by side now with this GTR, going to be drag racing just like we did on lap 1 with that Lamborghini, but we're going to go up the inside now on this GTR to turn 4. It looks like it's a good move, but he turns in on us, and we're locked together, forcing me onto the exit curb. He was just not budging. The Ferrari is looking up the inside now. Luckily, we can fend him off, going very wide onto the exit curbs, and luckily we can keep our position. But definitely a very weird move from the GTR. You can see a replay here is just turning into us and just keeping his steering wheel locked to the right. So I don't really know why he did that. The Ferrari got ahead of us just for a split second there, but luckily we were able to have the inside for the next corner, and we could keep him behind. So definitely got to make up some time to the cars in front now. That was kind of a weird incident. I was obviously going to make that corner. I believe it was my corner. I was up the inside and alongside into the corner, so not really too sure why the GTR turned in like that. But the Ferrari is right behind us on this back straight now. For some reason, not really utilizing the slipstream, which is sort of weird. The slipstream is very, very, very powerful on this back straight. You can really gain a lot of time and potentially go for a move into that kind of 45-degree kink right-hander. So looks like he's not going to be trying anything, or he's going to go up the inside here, taking a ton of curb, pretty much completely off the track there. And luckily we're still ahead. So that's some interesting racing from the cars we've seen so far. It's kind of strange. But 12th position now out of 26, heading on to lap 4 now. So far, pretty solid race. Obviously, that incident with the GTR was kind of funky, but luckily we didn't really suffer too much from that. So taking a lot of curb again into turn 1, turn 2 again, a lot of curb, and just basically creating the straightest line that we can through turns 1, 2, and 3. Like I said at the beginning, these corners are really where you can make up a lot of time to the cars in front. So the gap has opened up a little bit. You can see the Ferrari definitely dropping back behind, most likely because he took so much curb last lap at the end of that lap. So I would assume that's why he's kind of dropping back a little bit. The cars in front are bunched up, which is good for us. If we can get close to this McLaren and overtake, we're going to be right in the mix with them. So definitely very good for us. And the rest of the pack, judging on the mini-map and just these replay cameras, you can see in front, they're all pretty close together. The gaps aren't really opening up too much. So again, that is very good for us. If we can overtake this pack of cars, then we'll still be in the fight for points. So that would definitely be a really good recovery if we can get points. Like I said at the beginning, we were fighting for wins and podiums at previous races in this championship, so I think there's definitely potential for points. We just got to get past, I believe 4 cars. We're in 12th position, so we need to be top 8, which is definitely potentially a tall order given the time remaining in the race, but it's not really impossible. So definitely gaining time, late braking. You can see the gap has really opened up to the Ferrari behind. It's probably over a second now, and right on the tail of this McLaren and the rest of these cars in front. So still very much in the mix with these guys, and hopefully we can avoid any type of contact or incidents, keep the racing clean, and yeah, hopefully no more weird GTR incidents like we had before. But pit window is open now. 20 minutes remaining in the race. Probably going to pit in a lap or 2 around the 15-minute mark, getting very, very close to this McLaren, gaining a lot of time through turn 1 and 2, and a little bit of contact, and it sends us into a spin. We're onto the grass. Luckily, the Ferrari is too far behind, cannot overtake us, but we have now a huge gap to the McLaren in front. We'll see a replay here of what exactly happened. He was really, really backed up. You can see how much time you gain through turn 1 and 2 just by taking a lot of curb, and just that little bit of contact kind of made us just unstable. Rear wheels kicked out, had to compensate for it onto the grass, but luckily we're not overtaken by the Ferrari. So unfortunately, that does kind of put us in a weird position where the Ferrari's back on us now, and we're far away from these guys in front. So all that time we spent gaining on these cars, that's all been sort of thrown away just from that tiny little bit of contact that just sort of sent us into a half spin there. But you know, that's racing. So someone in this pack of cars I would imagine is going to pit in this lap. There's 18 minutes remaining in the race. Pit window is going to be open until 10 minutes left. So someone ahead will probably pit this lap. Usually it's between here and 15 minutes. Yeah, you can see, I believe that's the GTR going into the pit lane right now. We're going to stay out one more lap just to see if we can gain any time to these cars in front. If we can't, if the gap remains equal by the end of this lap, we'll probably just head into the pits and see where we come out. But we skipped ahead a little bit. Unfortunately, the gap is still about 2 seconds to the cars in front, so not really gaining any time. The gap behind has remained consistent, still about half a second to the Ferrari. So we're just going to pit this lap and see where we come out. Unfortunately, I have mentioned this in previous videos, but I can't map the button on my wheel for some reason that allows you to turn the engine off. So We lose a couple seconds pretty much every time we have a pit stop in these races, which is quite annoying, but we did lose a lot of time with that contact, so not really the end of the world. We're going to have to try to fight our way to close that gap anyway. So into the pit lane we go, and here we are. So just going to speed up the pit stop a little bit. You can see we get passed by probably 4 or 5 cars in the pit lane, and then on the exit of the pits, it's such a long pit exit. We're going to go to the track, and it's going to take quite a long time. So I can imagine we're going to get passed by more cars on track. So looks like two people just passed us on track. There's probably a couple more coming. That's going to drop us down to probably about 25th or 24th position out of 26. So definitely losing a little bit of time. But hopefully there's still a lot of cars in front that need to pit. We did pit a little bit on the earlier side. We're leaving the pits right now, and we're about to hit the midway point for the pit window to close. So that should mean there's a decent amount of cars in front that still have to go into the pit lane. But obviously we'll just have to see. So looks like these guys in front have already done their pit stop, so it's just going to be some good old-fashioned racing to get close to these guys. A lot of wheel spin on the exit curb right there. Luckily could save it and not really go too wide there like I did earlier in the race. But yeah, coming up to the pit lane now. We'll see if there's anyone coming out. It looks like there's going to be a lot of people coming out of the pit lane. So a big pack of cars just exited. There's 3 cars in front now. We're going to go side by side with this Mercedes, and this should be a pretty easy overtake. We're already alongside. Just late brake a little bit, and luckily he does not turn into us like the GTR did on, I believe it was lap 3, and we could take that position pretty easily. So unfortunately cars in front gain a little bit of time through here, but we can probably late brake into turn 7 and just gain that time right back. So yeah, kind of got our work cut out for us if we want to be in the points, as I think a lot of these guys in front have already done their pit stop. So definitely lost some more time through that pit stop than I was anticipating. I'm not too sure, maybe if we had some damage or something from that GTR on lap 3, potentially that could be it. Obviously, like I did mention, we normally lose a little bit of time, but in the slipstream now, this Lamborghini definitely made up a lot of time, and going up the inside now, really use that slipstream to our advantage. It's going to kink right in a second here, and he turns in, and we have a very scary moment on the curb right there. Not really too sure why he was so aggressive with that move to turn in like that. We were pretty much alongside. So that was definitely kind of sketchy from him. But up the inside now into the hairpin, going to take a lot more curb than this Lamborghini, and that is pretty much him safely behind us. So that was a very weird aggressive turn in from the Lamborghini. We were definitely alongside. That corner is taken flat out, so I'm not really too sure why he was squeezing us to the inside so quickly, but that would potentially be looked at by some type of stewards or something if this was in real life, because that was pretty dangerous. You can see the contact for pretty much no reason right there. Luckily we could save it, didn't really have an issue, you know, going onto the grass or spinning out or anything like that, but leaving him a lot of racing room up the inside now into that corner, and then just having the inside for the hairpin is pretty much that move solidified. We had an inside for 2 corners in a row, but yeah, that was kind of interesting. Anyway, back onto lap 10 now, behind this Mercedes. It looks like we could potentially go for a move around the outside, but unfortunately just a little bit too far back. We're going to have to see if we can send it down the inside here. It looks like we can, and that is a big send into turn 4, really slamming the brakes right there. Luckily we get the car stopped, and we are safely past the Mercedes. So definitely have to get the elbows out now, drive pretty aggressively. A lot of wheel spin on this exit curve. It's been a little sketchy recently on the exit of turn 6, but definitely have to get the elbows out now if we want to make up time. All these guys have pretty much completed their pit stop. Pit window's about to close anyway, so these guys are who we're racing in 20th place, so definitely lost a lot of time through that pit stop. But these guys in front seem to be fighting just a little bit. They seem to be going side by side through turn 7. They're coupling up 2 by 2 around the outside of turn 7. This BMW taking a lot of curve up the inside. That's definitely going to slow him down a lot. There's plenty of room for him to be on the asphalt there, so he's going to be going quite slowly into this next corner. This is a corner where we gain a lot of time, so we're going to have to see if we can go for a move in between the BMW and the GTR, and that is threading the needle, and that is a pretty good move to overtake that BMW. Now on the slipstream of this GTR, right behind him. Hopefully we can kind of switch to the inside, use this slipstream, and go for a move up the inside. This is similar to what happened with the Lamborghini. He's going to turn in a little bit, but luckily we don't make any contact, and we're still drag racing down to this the end of this main straight, pretty much up the inside quite easily right there, and he just braked a little bit too early. So challenging us now at the inside of the hairpin, but I don't think he's going to be able to make that move work, and that is a couple cars overtaken this lap. So definitely climbing our way up the rest of the field. Now we just have a Lamborghini and a BMW in front. It looks like the gap in front of them has opened up quite a bit. Gaining on this Lamborghini in front, I think I skipped ahead a lap or two for this replay. You can see how much time you gain through turn 1 and 2 and 3. It's pretty crazy how close you can stick to these guys. So looks like we can probably go for a move up the inside here, or we're just going to be a little bit too far back. Just a little bit too far behind and don't really want to risk getting into some type of incident at in the later stages of the race. But definitely looks like we have the pace to stick with this Lamborghini in front. The BMW in front of him is just about a second in front, so it's not really too much of an issue to catch up to him either. Unfortunately, the gap in front of them looks pretty big, so not really too much time left in this race. We're going to have to make up about, I think, around a second a lap in order to overtake both these guys and catch up to the pack in front, and that's not including overtaking. So definitely have to get a move on, go for some aggressive moves here, and just get everyone behind us as soon as we can. But in the slipstream now on the back straight, looks like this is going to be a pretty easy overtake. Potentially even before we get to the corner, we're going side by side now. Hopefully not another incident where he turns in, and luckily we can avoid it right there. But pretty much ahead by the time we get to the corner, and that is a very easy overtake. The slipstream is so powerful there, and that really just slingshotted us forward, and now the Lamborghini is behind. He's going really, really aggressively onto the curves right there, even onto the grass, and that definitely slowed him down. So just this BMW in front going a little bit wide here. Track limits warning right there, but just really using as much gas as I possibly can to just kind of stick with these guys and make up some time. So pretty good group of cars stuck behind us now, and now we just got to focus on this BMW. So 5 minutes remaining in this race. Probably means about 4 laps left, so we have a couple laps to try to get this guy, and unfortunately this might be the final car we can overtake. You can see in the mini-map there's a bunch of people bunched up ahead, sort of in a big cluster, but I don't think we're going to be able to get close enough to get in the mix there and overtake anyone. So really gotta go balls to the wall here and try to get this BMW. But on to the next lap now. Really sticking close. This is through turn 1. Definitely made up a lot of time for the BMW in front, and we're going to have a battle on our hands pretty soon. I can feel it. So probably a little bit too far back to make a move into turn 4. Yeah, just have to kind of tuck in behind, go slowly, be cautious, and hope for a better exit in order to stick with this guy in front. Really using the exit curves right there, using the entire width of the track just to make sure we can shave off nanoseconds in order to get closer to this guy. Gaining a lot of time through the braking zone into turn 7, really sticking to this guy. We should be able to gain a lot of time in the braking zone up here as well. Hopefully that sets us up for a move on the back straight. We can get at least alongside on the back straight and go for a move into the hairpin. We're going to have to see. Unfortunately, it looks like we're kind of far back. Hopefully the slipstream effect can kind of propel us forward, but it looks like we might be a little bit too far back to go for anything on this lap. Sorry, I can't speak. But yeah, so looks like we're a little bit too far behind, but it also looks like we're gaining sort of very suddenly in the slipstream now. He brakes, goes a little bit wide, and we're right up the inside, side by side through that right-hander, and that was very, very close for comfort. Really, really close side-by-side racing right there, and that is job done on the BMW. So you can see a replay here just of how close we were going up the inside right there. That was definitely a very, very sketchy move. That didn't really feel the most stable, but really, really close right there. Luckily, leaving him enough racing room, didn't run him wide, and just get by before we even get to the hairpin. So that was pretty clean overall. So I'm glad we could make that one work. So that looks like that might be the last opportunity to overtake. There's 2 minutes left in this race. The gap in front is about 3 seconds, so we'd have to make up over a second a lap on this car in front in order to gain any ground on the cars in front. So looks like we're going to be finishing in 16th position. Not really the best race result. Obviously, we did start last. We got disqualified from the qualifying session. So yeah, that's a pretty big hiccup. We had a pretty good recovery at the beginning of the race, but we really should have been shooting for, I think, around 8th place. That big mistake making contact with that McLaren. It was such a small little bit of contact. Unfortunately, just kind of spun us out, made us go a little bit wide onto the grass, and we just lost about 3 seconds from that. So that was definitely quite annoying, and I think that was probably one of the biggest reasons why we are not finishing higher. Obviously, we lost a little bit of time in the pit stop as well. Not really too sure if there was any damage on the car. We did have that incident with the GTR as well, who kind of just turned into me. So yeah, a couple little incidents made us lose some time. We should have been fighting for something a little bit higher. Like I said, we were fighting for wins and podiums earlier. But overall, I felt good race result given the stuff that happened. But yeah, 16th position, or sorry, 15th position. I guess the little tracker thing was messed up. But yeah, not really the best race result we could have hoped for, but still felt pretty solid. Definitely made some pretty clean overtakes, and the car felt really well balanced. So on to Monza for the next round. That'll be a good race, obviously. Can't really go wrong racing in Monza, and that should be pretty good. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Kind of a weird race result today. Unfortunately, you know, getting disqualified, starting at the back. We had our work cut out for us, and did an okay job at it. So yeah, Monza will be the next episode. I'm going to start posting a little bit more consistently now. But yeah, so if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.